message, so I'm awaiting a reply from this message that I sent. And what it was about was it was to David Icke's son, who I'm connected with. And David Icke was talking about how the biggest, most powerful impact we can have on the world is to make the shift from identifying with the droplet, the ego, the self-consciousness as what we are, and making that shift to infinite consciousness, to the awareness, to identifying with that as what we are. And he was saying that if people just did that for 30 days, the magic that would unfold would be ridiculous. So that inspired me. And what I've done now is I've approached David Icke and I've said, look, do you want to come on a podcast? And I'm gonna create this community called something like Step Into Infinity. And then if I could launch it with him on the first initial podcast, talking about it, I'm really, really inspired. It's a really inspiring kind of mission that's kind of materialized over the last few weeks.
That's amazing, Joe. That's really, really amazing. Well done.
Thank you. And like I see is like when I'm doing this, like I see you guys as like part of the team, part of the team helping people. If obviously whatever you want to do you know what I mean? But like I know with beautiful people like you around, like we can achieve and do so much more together than alone. But yeah.
Congratulations, Joe, of your infinity step.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it gives me chills just thinking about it. So I know that's my soul telling me.
Very good. Very, very good.
So thank you. It's good to share that with you guys. And
Oh,
we can
thank
see how
you.
it unfolds.
Infinity's first step.
Yeah.
So to run it out into the future, what does that play into? Just let your creative hat.
Well, like in my moments where I've got time, I'll spend that focusing, on Lovelution and that feeling of what it's going to be like, and seeing the people in the community having massive shifts, happy, buzzing, ever growing. Yeah.
That's a really, really beautiful creation.
Yeah, it feels like it's evolved this, throughout everything else that I've done. This is like the pinnacle now.
You'd be a great host, Joe.
Yeah, I'd love to. That's it. I'd love to host that. But like, I'm just seeing like David Icke coming in like every week or two, and just like dropping the words of encouragement, because the people are going to listen to him a lot more than like they'll listen to me. But yeah, oh my days. But that just feels so aligned. Hello, Craig, my brother.
Hey, brother.
I was just sharing with Alison and Jesse that I messaged Gareth Icke about the Stepping Into Infinity invitation to the world. So I'm really
infinity.
Yeah, the Step Into Infinity challenge. So I messaged Gareth this morning and I'm awaiting a reply. And I've asked if we could get David Icke on a podcast talking about this and like kind of launching the program together with a podcast.
Yeah. So is
program
this
course.
something they initiated?
Pardon?
Is this something David Icke initiated?
Well, David Icke was on Gaia TV talking about the Archons, and there was just a little segment where he was saying that the biggest and most powerful impact we can have on transforming this planet is shifting our identity from the self-consciousness into the infinite consciousness. And to do that for 30 days, he's like, people do sweat lodges, people do this, people do that, but that's what he does, and that's what he recommends. You know, just like nothing too crazy, just stepping in and identifying with infinite consciousness as we are, you know, as that every day, you know, and imagine a community space where we're all doing that and holding each other, you know, to it when one of us is high, the other's low, and vice versa, you know, but we and we're not saying any specific outcomes, you know. We just, and then
So
that's
so-
also not limiting it.
So this challenge, is this your thing?
Well, it's something that was inspired by David Icke
No,
saying it.
I know, but you already got that. But is this your thing? Are you doing this challenge? Are you putting this challenge together?
Yeah, I want to put the challenge together. I want to host it and run it.
Yeah, of course. Yes.
Like, this is like the Loveolution. This is like a branch of the Loveolution.
Of course. Yeah, but it's not a
like,
challenge. It's not a challenge. It's an
It's an
invitation.
invitation. Yeah.
No, I'm serious. I'm serious.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the
An
whole
invitation.
damn thing. So do it. It's the 30-day invitation, or whatever you want to call it, but it's got to be an invitation.
Yeah.
Because it's you're calling it's putting out a calling for all the people that know the truth of this. Right? And the thing is, it'll gather people. It'll gather the people that are aligned already.
Exactly.
It'll gather the people that are already looking for this.
I just feel like with the work with the Mag Mind, and that's literally what it's about doing, shifting the identity, you know. But in Mag Mind, it was always about shifting your identity to like a life that you love. But like we were saying the other day, Craig, that's still identifying with the human being as what we are.
Well, exactly.
So it's automatically got limitation linked in.
That's not who we are. We're not this 3DB. We're the 5DB.
So it's taking that.
That's who we truly are.
Exactly. Because that's it. That's what we were saying on the call the other day, Craig. We were saying, like, how can you make a true choice if you're not in your truest self?
Well, you can't.
You know?
That's what I've been saying. That's what I've been saying since I got into the Mag Mind community. Is I don't see anybody making true choices. I don't see anybody making their own personal true choices.
Yeah, I see a lot of people making choices and like, oh, I like
everybody's
that choice.
self-consciousness is making choices. Those aren't true choices.
No,
they never will be. You know, it's this idea of what manifestation is, and what we generally think, even light workers, what we generally think manifestation is something physical in the 3D, and it's not. It doesn't have anything to do with that. Manifestation is planting seeds of potential into the 3D reality. That's what manifesting is. And allowing all the energies to nurture that seed, to feed it, to water it, to give it good ground. Okay. We, those of us who are awakened, we are the good ground. We're the ground that the seed needs to germinate and develop inside. My heart is that good ground. Your heart is that good ground. That ground that's been prepared for the seed to be planted in it.
Yeah, the
You look at an
community.
acorn. You look at an acorn. How can you ever imagine that acorn is a friggin' oak tree? How can you imagine that? You don't know what that seed is. You don't know what that acorn is until you plant it and it becomes what it is. Like it's all potential.
So you're seeing people planting seeds and kind of already attached to what it is.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing my whole life.
That's what you've been doing.
Yeah, when I talk about designing Zoom in 1990, that was a friggin' seed that was planted in me.
Yeah.
That became this app that we're all using to communicate with each other all over the world, because that's part of the global awakening. I was given that seed friggin' 30 years ago so that this could happen, what we're doing today. It's the mechanism by which the cosmos is making this happen. And it has nothing, this is not my invention. It's not my seed. But I received the seed. I was open at that particular time to receive this seed, to have it planted in my heart. And I didn't do the 3D stuff. All I did was I was the ground where the potential could be planted. That's all I did. It took off from there.
And one thing it says in that Gene Keys is the genius shows up.
Yeah.
Like when we move out of the way.
Well, and yeah, and it turns out that that's a major part of my genius is to see those seeds of potential, to understand on a very deep level what those potentials, what those seeds actually are, and open my heart to allow it to be planted here in the 3D. Allow it to be planted in the good soil of my heart, where it became something astronomical. That's manifestation. But every single person on the planet is capable of doing the same thing, of being that same thing. I just happened to do it a long time ago. and what's kind of funny about that is it's taken me, I've been doing that for decades, and it's taken me decades to realize that that is what I've been doing.
Wow.
You know, I didn't start to understand this till about 6 months ago.
Wow.
And what's really weird is like that Gene Keys quote that you gave me. So I'm looking around again, and I'm reading this in Gene Keys now. I'm reading the truth of this, of what I just said. I'm reading it all over the place. I'm listening to Cryon, and Cryon saying the same thing. You know, and pretty much anybody that's channeling right now is all saying the same stuff. Like it keeps being confirmed over and over and over again that what I'm saying is true. It's so bizarre. And it's not understandable, which is really hilarious to me. Because my muscles and bones know it's true, but my brain can't understand it. In fact, I wrote in my journal this morning. I said, I said, I'm trying to use 3D language to explain the unexplainable.
Mm.
And so is everybody else. Like, I don't know how many times I've heard this week. I've heard Cryon say that it's really difficult to explain this in in the English language, in human language, because all this stuff is conceptual. The whole everything about it is conceptual. The mechanism, the synchronistic engine, the quantum mechanism is unexplainable. And I heard, this is a quote that I heard, and I wrote it down when I was listening to it this morning. The potential gets to be so strong that you want to create it.
Yeah.
It's your 5D self, it's your superconscious, it's that part of you that's still on the other side of the veil, by the way. It's that part of you that sees, knows, and comprehends potential.
Well, I think something that pushed me over the edge to message him this morning was that increase in potential, which was that quote I sent you saying that all desires entrap you, but there's one desire that doesn't, and that's the desire to remember who you are.
Remember who you are. Yeah.
And that desire doesn't entrap you like all the other desires. So then it was like, wow, flipping.
You remember what gene key that was? Because I'm looking at the 42nd gene key, and I don't think that's it.
Well, I've just
Because it was
sent
chapter
you.
42.
No, because the chapter 42 is only like gene key 37 or something. The chapters are ahead of the gene keys. So like that screenshot I've sent you, it'll be like half an hour before that. But I could try find it again. But it's a 25-hour book.
Well, yeah, I know. That's why I was digging. That's why I was digging around, because, yeah, you know what's interesting is I've got let me see, 30. I've got 38. Yeah, in my profile, I've got. Oh no, I don't have 38. But I have 28, which is its programming partner, or its its channel partner. I've got 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, and 43 in my. So when I saw it was chapter 42, I went, "Holy crap! This has got to be
right. Yeah, no, I think it's about 37, 36. I'll after the call, I'll try find it and tell you exactly what it is. Wow.
Oh, here I go. I'm reading 37. In 37, it says, energetically speaking, it is the feminine that carries the vision of synthesis, and the masculine that will build it. This is the generalized blueprint of future society. It will be a world in which the masculine principle serves the feminine principle. Okay, the world we're in right now is a world where the feminine principle serves the masculine. That's
suppressed.
that's out of balance. Yeah, that's the out of balance state that the world is in right now, energetically.
Do you know when it says
Well-
that about the female and the male? Would that be talking about all inside?
Well, it's masculine and
ourselves.
feminine. It's not. That's not gender. That's not gender. That's energy. Feminine energy just means receptive, and masculine energy just means projecting. So the masculine energy projects and feminine energy receives.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so here's what he says too. He says, so what we are now seeing in the world is not a decline of the family unit, but a complete redefining of what family really means. Family is the structure that creates an aura of tenderness across the planet, empowering individuals and supporting communities simultaneously. In the future, family will no longer be an isolated tribal phenomenon, but a collective breath pattern that unites all human beings. So when you do breath work, that's what you're doing. You're creating a new breath pattern. That's actually a unifying energy, a breath pattern. That's interesting. I love his language in here. It's just amazing.
Does he talk about breathwork in there?
Well, a collective breath pattern. There it is right there. Family will no longer be an isolated tribal phenomenon, but a collective breath pattern that unites all human beings. So he's equating family with a collective breath pattern that unites everybody.
Wow.
Unites humanity. Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Oh my days. a
This
collective
is
breath
the
pattern.
stuff you're listening to. Like,
Oh,
it's like, and it's no wonder it doesn't sink in the first time, because how profound is that? Like this paragraph I've just written, I'm just going like, holy crap! Like, where does he get this stuff?
but remember as well with the Gene Keys, they meet up a few times every day and just meet in silence.
Yeah,
Silent pilgrimage rocks. Can I just have my say? Stop reading it. So I've got good ideas.
yeah. Well, and these Gene Keys, I mean, they're written the way they are because they're meant to be contemplated. They're meant to be contemplated, and I would even go farther than that. They're meant to be contemplated in a group setting like we're doing just now.
Sorry, what did you just say, mate? I just cut out.
I said they're meant to be contemplated in a group setting like we're doing right now. You know, it's like you be silent and allow the meaning to sink in. And then once it sinks in, then it starts to expand even more. It expands to a place beyond the words, even beyond the concepts.
Well, I found Gene Keys on Gaia, this woman talking about it, and she was saying as she was reading it, she could literally feel like her genes upgrading. She could like
Oh, of
literally
course.
feel just from reading it.
Yeah. Well, I have to.
But I've been listening to it, man, and it's like sometimes I'm like, what the heck? What? I should really be taking notes, but I'm just trying to get through it. I've never even attempted a 25-hour book before. Like, I don't know what's hit me.
Yeah. It's well, here's another thing too. it goes on to say this is the future that's coming. It is the same vision that Christ held as the natural state of humanity. It is what he referred to as the kingdom of heaven. And the challenge we have today is that, going back to that remember theme that you were talking about before, like remembering who you actually are. The collective is having a challenge remembering what the natural state of humanity actually is, because we haven't really been in contact with it for at least 6,000 years. We haven't been in contact with the natural state of humanity. Okay, and Jesus showed up to remind us that it's the natural state of humanity is still there. It's still written in our DNA. And what's happening right now on the earth is it's become obvious that it's time to remember. It's time to remember the natural state of humanity. Without all this noise that's built up around it.
Remember.
Yeah. Yeah. Remember that we are human, but we're also divine. It's the divine part that we've forgotten.
But when the heart gets shut down and frozen, then that stuff can't come through.
Correct.
So that's
What
why
I
it's
mean by
reawakening.
noise. It's hard to remember with all the noise.
Reawakening. Like I'm getting like heart activation. Like imagine like a heart activation call where people come in, they're like, okay, we're gonna activate your heart now, we're gonna step into that. But like if we were doing a challenge, an invitation,
yeah,
to step into infinity, like what if we were guiding a group now of like say 50 people, like what would you do? What
I would do.
Say it was like day one.
If I was invited to do so, what I would do is I would just deliver whatever message came to me that day, because it would be perfect. Because it would come as a result of the reading of the potential contained in all the people that show up, and all the people that would listen to the recording. And it's all in that's all intuitive, all of it.
Yeah.
You know, the message that comes is the perfect one.
Yeah.
You know, back to that recode language, the perfect time, the perfect message, the perfect people, the perfect place, the perfect environment.
Well, it's like to sit in. Good morning, Pascal and Nikki. Welcome.
Pascal and Nikki. Yeah.
Morning.
Howdy. Hello.
What's that, Jen?
Morning. Morning.
Morning, sleepyhead.
No, I lost my voice from singing last night.
Oh, bless you.
Yes, I had an African band that came to New York. And I posted it again on Facebook to tag everybody, but nobody tags, nobody comes and joins me. So I had to sing along by myself. It was just phenomenal. I like Africa literally came to New York, like literally. I'm not joking. It was bizarre. It was so like unreal. I was like, are you kidding me? It was like in Rockefeller Park. Yeah, so it was really. I did. I'm going to send it in the app, in the heart, in our app. If it can get posted, I'll post it. Just to let you hear two songs, because the one song was when she was singing Freedom. Yeah. And then she also was singing from her belly, and she was going to the audience, and then she sang to teach us how to sing from our belly. So she said, no, go down to the belly. And she like goes, yeah. And then we go back to her. You know what I mean? It was like, oh my God, it was so good. It was so good. You can hear by my voice. But anyway, yeah, I thought, yeah, it was awesome. Just awesome.
Well, welcome and repair those vocal cords.
Yes. 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 Thank you.
Yeah, based on your voice, it's a progress. You know,
It's
if you would have, if you would have just sing from your belly, I don't think you would have sound like this.
Yeah, I hope I can. I'm going to hopefully send it to you, and then you understand a little. Yeah. I'm going to send it. Okay.
Sure.
Let's see. This, I don't know if this is the very long one, but it's really, really good. Yeah.
And so this morning we are creating with Joe a invitation, opportunity that he's been called into, and he's designing, he's crafting, he's bringing what could it be? How could it go? What would I do? And so we're just kind of, there's a few, in all reality, it's like help inviting people to their divinity.
Awesome.
To see it, to step into it, and it's like recalling divinity, the infinity. And so, Joe, my question to you is, at the end, what do they get? What do they have? What is it for them of the invitation?
Yeah, wow. Well,
not from your head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What they get is whatever they truly need and desire, and they're just stepping into like their truest essence, because we've been conditioned over the decades to identify with this body, with this name, with these labels, and just we can't really say what's going to happen apart from people are going to feel good, they're going to feel amazing, they're going to feel alive, they're going to feel joy, and they're also, it's not necessarily going to be easy. There's going to be pain and struggles and stuff, but they're going to come out the other end closer to who they truly are. And just living a life of service to the world, to love, to joy, and just creating a happier, more joyful, kinder world, starting with ourselves.
Sounds like a revolution to me.
Yeah. This is it.
So to get there, so here, what a great practice that we normally don't do is that's the end of it, right? That's the intention for the end of it. That's the evolution at the end of it. You know?
Yeah.
That's 30 days. That's 4 weeks. Well, roughly, that's just the intention that's there. That's what's now, thanks to Allison's word, intention. And so to get that point, what do they need just before that point?
They need to, I mean, before that point, they probably need to be ready for change, ready for something like completely new. Frustrated and feeling low, feeling out of flow. And they should have the desire to remember who they really are. Like that's where they want to be at the beginning. Just have that desire. And the reason why I say that, Nikki, is because in this book, Gene Keys, it's saying that every desire entraps us, apart from the desire to remember who we are. People wanting connection, people wanting to belong to a community, people wanting to be in an environment that's safe to create from their heart, what brings them alive. Increasing the love for oneself, increasing the love for the world, increasing the kindness, being supported and loved and cared for throughout the transformation of remembering.
Oh, yeah, so good. I feel that in your videos. I have to say, I feel that in your videos. Yeah, in your Facebook videos, your music.
Oh, thank you.
It's so, it's like I'm there with you. It is so beautiful to witness and to watch everybody, get into the groove.
Yeah.
It's just, it's crazy.
And that's it. When you said groove, what came to me is we're making a new drum beat. There's a new drum beat. Can you hear it?
Yes, I can.
That?
Yes, I can.
And the people that can't hear it, they think we're crazy. It's like, what you
That's
want
okay.
about?
But that's okay. Because you're leading the revolution. This is what it's about. It's all new. And that's where it's so exciting, because the example that you lead, the example that you show, is allowing people to open up their hearts, because they're so unconsciously wanting to protect, because they're hurt. People are hurt. A lot of pain in the world. There's a lot of pain happening here. We are very privileged to be here on Zoom and having interaction with each other and talk and express, but there is so much, there's people waking up with bombs, not knowing if they're going to be bombed today. If they're going to wake up today. I mean, really, it's a lot of pain. So for people that you express, that they can allow themselves to also express, give that permission. allowing them to be themselves. And you do it through music. And that's what I truly admire.
Big love, Nika.
Yeah.
Evil only triumphs when good men do nothing. And here we are, the good men, women.
So Joe, there's a rough structure in the chat around what you discovered as you went through it.
Thank you, brother.
What I heard was your challenge. It's like, so your invitation is to hold the end result, to hold the tension for 30 days of the invitation, to allow your divinity, to show through, to lead through, to guide people into. It's always holding that end result, staying in that end result. And yes, you'll be out of it. You'll wave in and out of it. That's progress.
Thank you, brother. Free of labels, feel the divinity, support, closer to divinity, service in love and joy. Wow. Second week, safe to create what brings them alive, dialing up kindness and remembering. First week, wow, can you hear the new drum beat, leading new divinity. Third week, ready for new frustrated law, someone is missing in their life. Really marketing, I thought. Wow. Thank you, Jesse. I've screenshot that, mate. That's beautiful. Thank you.
Don't we love co-creating?
Wow. Co-creating at its finest.
I want to circle back to the pain that Nikki was talking about. People are in pain because they don't know who they are. They associate themselves to the mind, to the body. But if they switch it to the awareness of it, I'm the awareness of my pain. I'm the awareness of my struggle. I'm the awareness of my fear. See how it feels in your body. And also like what you said, Greg, about, because Joe asked you, like, what would you be doing? And then you said, like, I'll be doing like whatever comes up to me. And it's really like being with your higher self. The higher self doesn't need to know how to do it, why he's doing it. Doesn't need to try. Doesn't want anything. Yeah. He's complete as a whole. So when you get there, because like I heard that and it was kind of harsh, but I'll say it anyway. Preparation is for coward.
I know.
So true.
Yeah, but I expect that, because I used to think that way too,
Well, I
until
didn't
I
used to
realized
think
what
that
I'm
way.
actually doing.
Well, I
And I
didn't
go
used to
like,
think that way. I just used to do it, but then people used to say, "Oh no, you need to plan, you need to prepare," and then I end up falling for that and then not getting anything done because rather than just going in to the deep end,
yeah,
and rather than overthinking it, what am I going to do? It's like in it'll present itself in the perfect moment.
yeah. For me, what's actually occurring is every day that goes by, I'm allowing my super conscious or my higher self to inform my actions.
Beautiful.
Yeah, yeah. And it's kind of a scary place to be because you're kind of putting yourself at the mercy of your of your higher self, of a part of you that's kind of been intangible your whole life.
But I think the scarier it is and the bigger the risk it is and feels like, the more the universe and the cosmos is going to back it.
Well, yeah, exactly. Like, am I even going to attempt to walk on that water?
Mhm.
And even, I mean, that, and so what, like those types of questions, those types of thoughts, those types of provocations, right, bring up resistance.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is what is in the way of the divinity, of the divine, of the infinite.
Mm.
Of remembering.
Yeah, and then it's that, as well as that, and then it becomes the expectations, because people will expect, like what I my money situation will change now in these 30 days.
Yeah.
And yes, of course it will. It just won't be in the way they expect it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because
Well
they're not
said.
that good. They're not that good at creating.
Or we've just got really good at creating what we don't want.
Exactly. And that's to stop that momentum and put it in another area, which takes years.
Mm.
Because two things is, one, divinity doesn't care about money.
Mm.
True.
The ego mind does.
Oh,
But
does
we
it
prefer-
ever?
Yeah.
But would our natural state not be like, abundance?
Yeah, but abundance and money aren't
No.
the same thing. They're not even related. Frankly.
They definitely don't mean the same thing.
Mm.
But that's what we've been sold. We've been sold that message, that they mean the same thing.
Mm.
And I just use money as some example because everyone has some sort of ideal that they are putting out there for which they would do this. And in all divinity is to allow however it shows up.
however it shows up is actually manifesting.
It's just big.
It's not
bigger
specific.
It's bigger than our vision is what the key to it is.
Right.
It's bigger than our now, or bigger than our expectation. It's bigger than what, quote, we want or are looking for.
It's bigger than we can fathom even.
Mhm. And you think about it, if you think about it, it takes the whole, it takes everyone to create their part to it. And that is where everyone's creating their whole part to it, is where the true abundance shows up.
Part of the reason why we don't recognize it when it shows up. As to what it will take. So when I download new stuff every day, I recognize that as abundance.
Mm.
And my response is gratitude.
Mm. Mhm.
And I only think divinity is possible in silence.
Mm. Inner silence.
It's the inner silence, which means outer silence, which means space to discover the silence and be safe and comfortable in the silence.
And then also go into the silence within, even when it's chaotic without.
Exactly. That's
Yes.
because the chaos is happening inside, not out there.
Mm.
Yeah, it reflects out there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Early on, I did a couple of sessions just on silence, just in complete silence.
Mm. No music.
No
No.
music. No.
Wow.
It was early. It was early on, and
I remember a few of them sessions.
We discovered
So-
that abundance lives there.
it's where the divinity exists. Hard as hell to hold it, but man, what great learning lessons.
Mm.
Yeah.
And really,
Mm.
the learning is not like sitting in meditation for an hour and then have our ego mind then be like running the show for the next 23 hours.
That's right.
Mm.
You know,
Exactly.
it's right. It's the opposite, right?
Yes,
Like,
it's showing up. It's just showing up all 24 hours, right? With the choice, with the awareness. Like you
Yeah.
said, Pascal, the better word I found is to observe yourself. You said aware,
Yes.
to be aware of the me. Same thing. That it's like, I think people can understand if they, let me observe myself. Let me observe my feelings. Let me observe my thinking. That is to me is the same as the awareness. I think awareness, people can stumble over it a little bit, like too much.
Right. Yeah, it's too big of a word for people. They
Yeah,
get scared from it.
yeah.
It's like as soon as I say consciousness
Yeah.
to my wife, she's like, "Oh, you again?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, mine, you're a higher mind. Ah,
She look at you crooked.
it's just hilarious. Just words, eh? It trigger people just by words.
Yeah.
I'm sure I heard in the book though, like she was saying that
Morning.
just consciousness is another word for love. You know, so maybe she'll maybe shift to love now.
Yeah. Hey, I'll share my little practice yesterday, because usually, like, I'm with you guys for about 2 hours, right? And then I get on podcasts, right? Like podcast after podcast, and I listen, right? And I gather so much information. And yesterday I was just like, you know what? I'll just be present. I'll just be present. And the practice I've done, it's like, I was looking at everybody, because like, I mean, I drive all day, right? So I was looking at everybody. And usually, like, I might have some judgment, right? Like maybe like what they're driving, or like their clothes they're wearing, or like their type of hair, or like their size, or whatever, right? But then I kind of bypassed that, and I was just like, inside of them, there's a light. And I was looking at everybody with the light that was shining. And it was pretty crazy, like how happy I was, first of all, and how my heart expanded.
Wow.
Like it really, I felt it. I felt it like warm, vibrating. Like it was just like, whoa, this is really cool.
Wow. That's it. If you can see the divinity in others, like that's it. Like through all of the bullshit, if you can still see that divinity, that spark and that love inside them, wow.
Yeah, and you can only see it from inside that space. When you're looking
Wow.
from there,
Yeah. You
see it everywhere.
With
The trees start to glow.
with the intention, right? That intention, so you can teach people how to be in that intention more often, and that becomes the practice, and that practice,
Yeah.
and then report back, practice, report back, practice, report back, practice, report back.
Yeah, exactly. Because like I was aware of my thoughts, right? Like, oh, she's this or he's this, and then I'm like, no, bring it back to the light, bring it back to the light. And then like, you know, my ego mind was like freaking out.
Wow.
You know, he's like, no, she's like that. No, she's like that. No, it's a light, it's a light. Bring it back to the light, bring it back to the light. He's like, all right, fine, I'll just sit on the back seat now.
Yes, it's replacing an old pattern. It's replacing that judger pattern.
Yeah.
I mean, number one, that's the first thing that's in the way, is that damn judger pattern. And a book to work would be change your questions, change your life. It's a great little fable around seeing the judger inside of you.
Another
And
quote
that's
I've seen
just-
on judging was, thinking's hard, that's why people judge.
Is what, sorry, Joe?
I've seen a quote and he said, thinking's hard, that's why people judge.
Right. Yeah.
Easy
And I
to
think
judge,
that's a
isn't it?
great observer. As Pascal said, his word was awareness, but it's to be aware, to observe the judger in yourself. Because it's so much easier to see when we're judging other people. It's just so much easier to see that than when it is then we can begin to notice the inner critic for ourselves, of ourselves. And that's the true breakthrough, but it's a layer that's way deep. So there's
It
week
reminds me
one.
of a challenge.
Breakthrough
It
to the
reminds me of
judger.
Yes. Week 1.
It reminds me of this challenge that I did, challenge invitation. I did this book called 3 Magic Words. Amazing book that came out in like the 50s. But in there's a challenge invitation where they're like, for 30 days, you can't think anything bad of anyone. You can't think anything bad about yourself. You can you're only tuning into gratitude, into abundance, into love. And like, as soon as you catch yourself like judging yourself or others or whatever, like you got to go straight back to day one. But like, that was just, yeah, I need to get more specifics on that. But that's it. Staying in that presence and choosing, like, because a lot of people will be like that, like just listening on podcasts all day, but then to make that other decision, and then like, yeah, you gather information on these podcasts, but by being present in yourself, like, and connecting with each and every person that crossed your path, that's like that's beyond information, isn't it? That's like energetic.
It's
You know what I just
experiential. It's engaging in the experience, and that is where people will, when people notice that right away, that is value.
Yes. Yeah.
And then they'll want to stay in it. They'll want to stay in it, and they know as soon as they step away from that structure, they're going to lose it.
Yeah, and the reason why the lower mind wants to gather more and more information is because it doesn't know anything.
Yeah. And it never will.
Yeah.
Well, and this, the second part is that it wants to confirm that it's right.
Yeah. Wow.
It wants to validate that it's true, it's self, that it's valuable, that it's here, that it's helping. It's like ridiculous. That's how we fit in.
Yeah.
That's how we belong.
By finding others that agree with us.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And all that is judging.
Yeah. Here's a side note for Joe. when you were talking about this, do something for 30 days, and when you miss it, you have to go back to the beginning. What came up for me is that's that cash flow game. that life flow game you want to create.
Life flow, yeah.
Yeah, because the way the cash flow game works is actually you start off in the rat race. Right. You're making a lot of noise, Pascal.
Oh.
That's
not me. That's my truck.
But in the cash flow game, you start off in the rat race, and you got to go around that. You got to go in the rat wheel, and you got to stay there for as long as it takes before you can graduate to the real world, so to speak. And so you're running and running and running there. But this thing about living life, and then you realize that you got sucked back into your old pattern or your old habit, and then you have to go back to the beginning and start again. It's like a perfect parallel to that.
I like it.
So, yeah, I like it too. Anyways.
Well,
so yeah,
here's like that is an impossible challenge to get 30 days in a row that you're not judging something. So you could switch it and say, all right, keep track. Like the key would be to keep track of how many times you notice the judger.
Yes. Yeah.
Because noticing, observing it, awareing it is the thing that matters. Like that is the measurement that matters.
And I'll step it up a tiny bit, or maybe a lot. Every time you're judging someone, send them what you want. Send them.
Yeah.
Like, what do you desire? Send it to that person that you judge.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. You bet. That's it. That's week 2, right?
That's week 2.
Yeah. I mean, because then it's pattern. It's aware of it, and it's giving. Because at the end of the day, you're judging them against something, which is in return what you want. You want the other side of it, or you want that for them. And it's like, so then it begins to become, rather than what lack, why you don't have it, it becomes what it is that you want. And so you're intentionally creating it. So you're doing a yes and, so you're amplifying and multiplying it, compounding it. You're compounding it, which is in the positive direction, where we normally compound our life in a negative way.
Yeah, just the way you said it. That was good.
It was your invention.
Yeah.
I love it. A yes and game.
Yes,
Yep.
and game.
Yeah, that concept always used to baffle me a little bit. Whatever you want, give it away. Whatever you want, give it to others. And that's what you're saying, isn't it? The person.
What you desire. So, like, say you're judging a homeless person, and then you would like, in your life, more abundance, more money, then, like, kind of like send them thought that, like, you would send them money. Kind of like that.
Yeah. But it's kind of like it feels the opposite, like whatever we want, give it away. But by giving it away, more's going to come back.
No.
Yeah, it's that giving, receiving, right?
Yeah.
So if you want love, you give love. If you want happiness, give happiness. It comes back.
Yeah, and it may come back in a different form.
Or guaranteed to.
Yeah, yeah. We always assume that it's going to be
one for
reciprocal.
Yeah.
That it's
one for one immediately.
Well, yeah, that's the other part of it.
I want to see it right now.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Yeah, that's the magic. It doesn't have to come from where you send it. You know, that's it. It just come from some unexpected place, but it's always going to come back. Whatever we reap, we will sow.
It's like that game, pay it forward, right? It's like, if you pay it forward, it's not like you walk out and somebody comes up to you and says, here you go.
Yeah.
It shows up at some other time, right? It may not, and it may not ever, right? It's like, and more than likely, we just missed when it does.
Yeah.
Because we
were expecting a certain form or a certain time or a
certain degree.
Yeah.
Certain level. It like has to be good enough. And it's like, even the little ones we don't know what little ones can play.
Yeah, and that's the thing about planting seeds, is you never know what that seed is going to become, actually. Because it's dependent. What it becomes is dependent on so many factors.
Mm-hmm. And so I look at judging. It's like, okay, what's really behind when we judge, when we're judging? Because it's usually we're usually judging someone, judging them, holding them in comparison, and it is a comparison, but it's lacking love. It's everything but love for who they are. It's not acknowledging their genius. We're not seeing, when we're judging, we're not seeing the genius. So in that, Joe, if we're judging, we're not seeing, we're not allowing the infinity. We're not allowing their infinity. We're not allowing their divinity. We're not acknowledging it. We're not acknowledging their greatness, their gifts, their genius. And it is definitely not equal. Because when we're judging, we're usually holding ourselves above them.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, didn't Jesus say something about that? About the measure that you judge others will kind of come back to you in the same way.
I would imagine. They both, you know, if it's a law, it's going to work both ways. So if you give abundance and love, it'll come back to you. If you give hate, it'll come back to you too.
Yeah.
Morning.
What did you say today?
I don't know. I don't know. But definitely compost. Yeah, you're very welcome. Have a good day. Eh?
But I
See,
also
I
think what
send him love. I send him love. So
I know.
better
I
get,
heard no judging that.
yeah, I better get love back.
Yeah.
You
yeah,
did. I say you got it. It was a great exchange.
Yeah.
What were you going to say, Nikki?
oh yeah, I was just about to say that the measure you give to others is actually what's inside you. You can
Wow.
only give what you can. So I think with that, your energy will speak before you even speak. Because people will feel it.
Yeah. Oh
They
yeah.
have to feel it before you say it. A lot of times you can say, I love you, but they don't feel it. So yeah, words are powerful, but I think the emotion that goes behind the meaning is more. Because people have to feel it.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Completely agree. It is the practice of hearing every word is charged, and the charge is the emotion behind it.
Yeah.
And when we get good at listening for it, we get good at
Exactly.
speaking it.
Yeah.
Because at the end of 30 days, this 30-day invitation is to observe the self, to
Yes.
observe the self's charges, to observe the self's negativity, to observe the self's positivity, and to change the patterns into more of the ones they want to be giving, the ones they want to be living.
And also to humble yourself.
Yeah, that is definitely a result of it. When you're not always the best.
Because that
Right,
measure
and-
changes, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That measure changes from moment to moment. It feels
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
And when you see other people's greatness and genius, it's like you allow your genius to be there too. And so there is, like, in humility of it all, it's a equal humility.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful result of it.
Especially when you can see their heart.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even no matter what the consequences that, when you can really see their hearts, you can literally like go to the place where you don't have to take offense. Because offense is basically off. You get off the word, you get off getting off offense, off the word. And the word is basically the truth of what you really want to share. That is love. So I like what Pascal speaks about the ego and the higher self, because that is what we are, the consciousness of who we are. And that's where we got to know where we're going to place our attention and where we're focusing, especially in confrontation and conflict, because no matter what we're going to deal with, we're going to have conflict with ourselves constantly, every single moment. And that's when we got to choose. But we also got to make peace with both, because we got to live with both. We can't deny one part of ourselves and accept another part of ourselves. We need to accept all of ourselves in this dimension of living, breathing, experiencing.
Yeah, that's the only way to attain balance and harmony, is by
that's it.
by acceptance of all of it.
Yeah.
All that's there.
Even the weakness, the weakness.
Oh, totally.
The power, the weakness, like the vulnerability of really saying, I am sorry. I apologize. Will you forgive me? I love you.
that's that Hokopono in it. I'm sorry, forgive me.
Yeah, I knew
you.
you were gonna say that, Joe. That was for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always wonder what the best order would be for that. I'm sorry, forgive me.
I don't care. I don't
I
really
love you.
care. No, that doesn't matter to me. Isn't that? It doesn't really matter, does it?
No.
No. I don't think it does. I just like to.
No.
I'm just trying to put it into a sequence order of. But yeah, either way, so beautiful.
But until you honor your dark side, you can't get it out of the driver's seat.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. I'm starting to really acknowledge the grace in that, because the whole concept of being perfect, as we spoke in the early in the session, the perfect time, perfect place. I understand that concept, but I'm also knowing that nothing is perfect. So I don't need to be perfect. And that gives me a lot of grace. It gives me a lot of grace just to show up.
Yeah, there's a Greek word in the New Testament that's misinterpreted. Whenever you see in the New Testament, you see the word perfect. It doesn't actually mean that. It actually means complete.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love that.
We've got hung up on the
what does it mean?
Connotation of perfect.
Complete. Oh, that's good.
Yes, completeness.
Oh, I like that.
When it says be ye perfect,
I love that.
be ye complete, as your Father in heaven is complete. That's a whole different meaning to that verse, isn't it?
Oh, I'm so happy I'm so happy that you've said that. That is a whole different. Wow. Yeah. complete. Oh, I love that. Oh, I love that. Thank you. Wow.
Yeah, there's a verse in James that says, let patience have her perfect work, or her complete work. Or no, let
Yeah.
patience have her, anyways, that you
Oh, I
might
love
be
that.
perfect and entire, wanting nothing. Well, if you take the perfect out of that, you
Mm.
change that with complete, that you may actually be complete and entire, wanting nothing.
And that's when we actually can say we complete and whole. That's where the wholeness comes, when we feel complete, that
Yeah, and
nothing
when we
is
feel that it's
missing,
safe to dwell
nothing's
in our
lacking.
completeness. Yeah,
Yeah.
in the truth of our completeness. Yes.
And acceptance of that.
You don't have to keep
Yeah.
achieving anymore,
Oh God, isn't that
because
just,
you're already complete,
oh,
right?
wow.
Yeah.
I gotta say what comes up for me when Joe says about preparation, because isn't that interesting? Because that whole thing of thinking that you have to prepare, of course you got to be prepared and organized, right? But it does delay the process a little bit, I think, because you get so much in your head that it has to be a
Yeah,
certain
but that's
way.
not the prepare that we're talking about.
No, I know that much. Yeah, but I'm just bringing that up.
Yeah.
That just came up for me.
That's a general understanding. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm bringing up. Yeah. For me to understand.
In that preparing, we say it has to happen in these logical linear steps,
Exactly, right.
which doesn't allow for the compounding of it.
Oh,
So yeah, it's fine to do it that way, but it's just like expecting how it will go, and in that, then it becomes a limitation of how it will go.
yeah, because
So
that's the truth. Because even when you have this concept of what you think that you are planning and what you would like, so what I'm saying about something of significance, whatever you want to put it, you can put so much energy to that, and then when the time comes, and there comes a time when you got to see it doesn't come to pass, and then you go all that time, you think, what were you doing? You were just, I don't know. It's like, yeah.
It didn't come to pass in the way you expected. It doesn't mean it
Yeah,
didn't come to pass.
No, it didn't even come to pass. It didn't even come to pass. So then I realized where all this knowing of trying to pursue something, sometimes you just got to just take it as it comes and just do it.
Yeah. See, when I try to organize my recovery, my recovery slows down.
That's it.
Okay. When I try to organize it, when I try to orchestrate it, it comes to a stop.
Yeah, and I think what's the practice here that we're doing, when Jesse says, like, just speak, we're coming from our heart. So that's where you're not trying to speak it from the mind of the logic. You're just like not needing to impress. This is where you practice the speaking, from your heart, like just speaking, because that's what it is. And it doesn't have to make sense to everybody.
Nope.
Yeah. So that's a practice that I'm putting to.
Well, everybody has their own level of preparation for pretty much everything that they experience. So I'm going to be ready for this message at a certain time, but it's going to be my time, sort of.
Yeah.
And if it's tomorrow and it's not my time, then that's not going to sink in. So that's what the preparation is. It's very unique. It's very unique to you and your own experience. So when I talk about recovery, I'm talking about healing that's happening in conjunction with gathering of resources for what is to come. It's a combination of both of those.
Yeah, it's really cool.
You know,
Oh,
I'm
I'm
getting my
talking-
strength back.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
And it's all in a form of preparedness, sort of.
It's beautiful.
And it wouldn't be beneficial for me to have a conversation to someone when I still see them as the devil himself,
Oh yeah, yeah. That's
instead
very
of the
true.
divine being that they actually are.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's so powerful one. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
very good one.
I'm better to just hold back and
Yeah.
keep preparing for that conversation.
Mm.
But there's other conversations that I can have, like this one that I'm having right now. Because I know it's building up everyone who hears it.
Yeah, healing is a process.
Yep. So is untangling.
Mm.
But this is what always got me in my mind, because it seemed to be two ways. It's like you can either heal or you can create. And when we're healing, are we healing the old dysfunctional identity,
Mm.
which is what we try to let go of?
I
No,
love
we're
it. how you
healing.
say
We're healing our
identity.
relationship to it. That's what's
Sure,
healing.
sure.
And by creation, that new identity doesn't need healing.
Identity.
No, it doesn't need healing. It's the
Love.
relationship that needs the healing.
Oh my God, that's so sexy. You sounds very sexy.
Does it? Well,
Welcome to the Happy Hotline.
yeah.
Especially when Joe says in his accent, identity. God, I love it. Identity. Oh, identity. Structure is the new sexy. Identity.
But when you're saying it, what's coming through as well is entity.
Oh my God, there we
Identity.
go.
Oh,
Listen,
wow.
Entity.
you
Yeah.
are too much this morning
Yeah.
for me. You are too much.
Oof,
Ooh,
that's your accent now. I'm hearing identity. But such a simple word, it's just gone over my head. Identity, man.
identity.
Yeah.
Sorry, this
Yeah.
is too good. I can't help it.
Yeah. Who am I really?
Yeah, right? Oh my God, isn't that really like, wow, something to ponder on, yeah?
Yeah.
You see, what's come up for me is my joy, because the fear of me having to express my joy was very, very scary, because I knew that it would be taken away, and I would not allow to express it. And what happened
but-
last night for me, I claimed it back, and I went into letting go of that fear and allowing me to express my joy, because my joy was a little, when I was younger, the energy was too much for others to consume. They didn't know how to deal with it. So they were feeling a little fearful. So they put me in a box. And I had to contain in that box because I was scared. I was scared to be abandoned or not to be approved, accepted, and loved because I was too much. But I wasn't. It was just joy. It was innocent joy of me loving to dance and music and singing and, you know, just enjoying life. Yeah. And through the years, that was little by little was taken from me. I gave it away unconsciously because it was necessary at the time to survive. That is the truth. And for me to come into this time and space where I can now come to this timeline and say, wow, I can now really come into my truth. So yeah, you know, I can express it. I can find humor. I can find laughter. I can find peace even in the chaos. It's pretty cool. And I think what's beautiful about it is that you can, as a woman, you can get into your real feminine, you know, your feminine. You can be. My voice is gone, but I like to think to be yeah, soft spoken, quiet, gentle. I'm just playing. Don't mind me.
Powerful gentleness.
Yeah, right.
Gentleness is true power.
Yeah. It's so beautiful to witness because there's nothing that's stopping me now from being that.
Yeah.
There's no wall. There's no, I don't need to get all like protective. I don't need to even be safe anymore.
Yeah, because all that's happening inside you.
Yeah. And also the masculine, as males, I feel they also, I'm not a triple threat. I'm just, they can see that now. And that's if they're in their own masculine. If they're not in their masculine, then they will take me as a threat. But if they're in their masculine, they will see my feminine. And they will draw it out even more. And I find that very powerful. And it's not just for me, but for every woman.
Morning.
So that's the power of a masculine.
So you're saying that when a masculine's not in his masculine,
Yeah.
then be intimidated by you, but if they are, then they'll bring it out of you even more.
Yeah. Because there's no need to control. There's no control. It's just pure acceptance. Yeah.
But without them having it themselves, it kind of brings up maybe intimidation in them.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
makes, wow.
It actually it reflects their internal imbalance between their masculine and feminine energies, is really the truth of it. So what's out of balance is what they feel. They feel the imbalance.
Yeah.
Well, that can be seen as a good thing then, can't it? Because at least they can see what the imbalance is then.
Yeah, but they don't realize that that's what it is, right? So it comes out as a reaction or an aggression or something like that. It's expressed as that.
Because that's the thing with healing, man. Like, it never seems to end.
No.
And it's like we can
No.
heal forever, or we can create. But like, hopefully, after a certain amount of healing, then it's time for creation. But healing must get like addictive, you know, and
That's why
soothing.
they have to happen at the same time.
Because we're the transition.
I like the concept of healing, because healing is evolving, like, because it's like this layer of an onion. It's just peeling off certain things. And what's come to me is that, you know, when you think to yourself, oh, I've always been like that, but how come it was different? It was not because it was different, it was the environment that you're in. So it's the environment that you allowed yourself. Yeah. So it's just coming into your true essence of who you really have always been. And that is what is basically who you are, is spirit
Mm,
in a body that we get to
Mm.
experience it, right? So it is something to experience and go through, because that's what the human experience is here for. We came here for that, for this experience. But when we get to really understand that everything is just an experience that we're experiencing, and how we can evolve with it, you know? Mm.
yeah.
Because not everything as a confrontation or conflict or even is bad. Sometimes it's necessary.
There can be good competition. good
Sometimes
conflict.
it's very important. Sometimes there's certain things that people just are in their evolution, they don't know how until they come to that, you know, place where they get into a affliction with someone, and they go, oh, and then it comes out. And then you say, oh, now I understand.
It's part of the healing that we call
It's part of the healing.
rebalancing.
Yeah.
Rebalancing,
It's
right?
yeah, it's a beautiful
So is
thing.
recalibration is that too.
Yeah.
And recovery
So
is that too.
yeah, there's no judgment. There's absolutely no judgment. And then you get to
They're all
realize
healing.
that's it. It's all healing. Yeah.
In fact, all change is healing. And it comes right down to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
We can compete, or we can complement, or we can cooperate.
Mm.
Well, that's the question. Are you going to cooperate with the healing that's occurring? Or are you
I
going to
think
fight it?
if we've got our old identity that needs healing, and then we're creating a new identity that
New identity.
it feels like we've healed, but we've not healed. We've just created a new identity that doesn't
That's right.
need that healing. So we've healed without healing. Like, the new identity doesn't need that healing. So it feels like we've healed, but really we've just created a new identity that doesn't have those blockages.
It's how I think when you heal that, when you're saying that, what comes up for me is basically, you know, when you don't react towards it. That's when you know
The
you've
trigger.
healed. Yeah, when
The
you don't
trigger.
react to it. Yeah. So you can like feel it very strongly, but you don't react to it. And even if you do react to it, it's a very subtly, like, boom, what was that? Like, that comes to you quicker than it would take you days or weeks or months. That's why you will say sorry much quicker. There won't be a wall up and think, oh, I'm going to be taken now for a ride or advantage. Or like Craig says, see the villain in someone. No, you just see it for what it is and say it's cool. That's when you really know that the maturity of your healing.
Yeah.
But it's also okay to be childish, because that's what we are. We are childish.
Mm,
Do you know what I mean? Childlike.
mm, mm.
It's not
There's
we're
a
going to get it
difference between
perfect.
those two terms.
Yeah. I prefer to be childlike than being childish, to put it honestly. But I don't judge myself if I take something like, oh, what do you mean by that? Yeah. I can question it now. I don't need to judge on that. I don't need even an answer anymore. I can look at it and go, okay, let me give myself the space to work it through, and I'll come back to you. Then I used to always feel like I had to react. I had to give an answer. I don't need to give no answer. No answer is a no answer. It's no response is a response.
Yep.
And that is healing,
Yeah, it's very healing.
right? And so the healing word of it is we're changing, we observe that
Yeah.
pattern, our automatic, that pattern that's always happening, and we
Always.
choose something else. That's all healing is. It's like, oh, that's the way I would normally do it. Now I've got a choice to do something else. And so
Yeah.
that is a creator. That a creator has choice.
That's it. Creator
A healer has a
choice.
choice.
That's right.
So they're so much one
I
and the
love that.
same. Yeah, all we're doing is noticing, oh, that's my automatic play button. That's my replay. That's how I'm replaying it all. That's how my pattern is. And when we see the divinity is, so we have a choice.
Yeah, I
We can
love that.
choose a new pattern.
Mm.
That's healing.
Yeah,
And that's
because
the
love.
identity.
Yeah, that's it. Is it? Is it? Is it? Is it? I love that. I love that. I love that. Yeah.
True healing is it's to stop identifying into it. So if, say, the doctor says I have cancer, do I believe that? Do I put that in my identity? Or I just say, no, I don't. It's not me. I'm the awareness of having cancer. It's not my true me. And when you stop identifying to it,
Oh, this is good. Yeah.
then you don't.
Amen.
Oh, that reminds me. In somebody's head.
Hmm?
In Buddhism, it's saying something about suffering.
Are you
That's when
saying
we'll
I'm
give up.
Buddha? Are you
But then it
saying I'm
says-
Buddha?
But then it says that because it's a misconception of the line, and it was basically saying like it's the identification with the thoughts. I've lost it, man. I've lost it. But yeah,
You'll get it. You'll get it back. You'll get it back. You'll get it back. They'll come to you.
Yeah, you identify with your thoughts.
And for one of the what came was you said it is suffering is the last thing that we'll give up.
This is.
Because it is what we identify with. And if we didn't suffer, then who would we be?
But imagine taking this superconscious record stuff and actually like not just shifting to another version identity, going from one box to another, but then going boxless and identifying, actually taking it beyond the human being, you know what I mean, and to the spirit, to the heart. Because I think as well, it's one thing like logically like hearing this and saying, "Oh yeah, I know I'm all it is, has and ever will be." Do you know what I mean? But then it's really knowing it, really feeling it, taking that, staying with that, not getting pulled in by the whirlwind of life, and remembering that.
And that's when the recode, like when you don't need the recode anymore, that's what's next. Recode's a good open the door, learn how to align yourself, and then it's like, then what?
Then hopefully we're getting truer choices, but from a more truer self.
We collaborate, come together. It's it's a co-creation. It's just not one creation, it's a co-creation.
Yeah, your dark and your light sides start working together instead of fighting with each other.
But that's so true as well, like what you were saying there about like until you kind of confront the dark, it's going to be in the driving seat. And I think throughout my life, like it's just avoiding the dark stuff and the horrible stuff.
Yep.
And until you're in a space like this, you know, like where you feel safe and comfortable, you know, relaxed in that environment.
Yep.
And then you're more able to face them, you know, and to face that. But to even know the process, like most people just think about what they don't want and then just keep thinking about it, you know, but just the simple steps of acknowledging it, honoring it, welcoming it, giving it love, accepting it, and then letting go with love, not judging it, not labeling it. All these things that we do, that they keep us stuck in the web.
Yep.
And we can just simplify this.
Yep.
So it's second nature.
Yep.
And we're doing it on ourselves first. That's the thing. Do you get me? It's like, yeah, we want to do this with other people, but the best we can, and the most, like, we can do it on ourselves and with each other. We're really lucky that we're in this space where it's like we want to collaborate and cooperate and work with each other and assist each other. Yeah, it's just beautiful.
You know, this just hit me too, is that you don't really want to cooperate with other people until your insides are cooperating.
You're competing. You're competing with others.
Yeah.
It is so much our structure. It's not our nature, but it's our structure.
Yeah. Yeah, the idea that I'm bad and I don't want to I don't want to be that. So I ignore
not so much that it's bad. It's like, I want to be this. I want to express my true self, and you can't. And I mean, that's what the structure has been fighting against our nature around. I want to and we all have uniquely different, you know, uniquely Nikki. If she had fun, it would be taken away from her.
Yeah.
She'd be
punished. Yeah, and that rings a bell as well for me, you know, Nick, with the joy. I feel like in the past, that's a big reason as well why I think I started smoking weed, because I just felt like I was too much for people.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, me too.
And then I just go in on myself.
Yeah. Yeah. This is what this is exactly, because joy is actually 500 more than love. It's when the frequency, it's actually beyond, it's above love. Joy is above love. Oh yeah. Yeah. And it's above love. And And the thing there is that what spoke to me is that my joy was always my strength. And in scripture, God even says, the joy of the Lord is your strength. And that's what I always, as I grew up, I always went into that scripture because I felt that gave me strength. But it was a threat to others, that joy. It was just a threat, especially my mother. She couldn't accept it. And it was very difficult for me, growing up. And yeah, I got to be honest. It was I needed to escape. I didn't know how to escape. So I went into my imagination. I just went into my imagination, not even knowing. And I think what I come into understanding now, that is coming to completion, that what Craig has beautifully explained about perfect, because I thought I had to be perfect to be loved. And now that this completion has come to a complete, because God has shown me that. So through long suffering, and I did suffer. It wasn't an option. It was part of my life. But now I can say through long suffering, God says, don't be heavy-hearted, because I have restored you now. And so now I can be restored, be knowing that even if people reject me, even if people don't accept or like me, because that is basic all human rights, I can stand in my truth now, because I know what I know.
That you love and accept yourself.
Yeah, but also what I've experienced in my life. I've gone through enough suffering. Suffering. Yeah. So I now can say that it doesn't matter if you receive it or don't accept it, or even thinking, because no one can take advantage of me. So I don't need to come into this whole, explanation or explaining myself. You don't need to understand. It's okay. But that's not going to stop me to have my joy now, because I am taking that to knowing that if I'm going to be the creator of my life, this is what I came here for, to create.
Wow.
And to create with others. And this is what makes it really exciting.
Do you realize that no one can take advantage of your higher self?
Yeah, there's it. That's it.
It's like deep down in the ocean.
Yeah. It's like the pearl in the shell.
Issue there. It's not even a possibility there.
Yeah.
Untouchable.
That's why Jesus was so resilient.
Yeah. And there's the thing when you talk about that, I love, because the thing with Jesus also, he also threw out the tables in the synagogue. Yeah. And he also said, pick up the first stone, whoever has never sinned. Yep. So he led by the example, but he also led by knowing, assertive, that there's a line, and that line, if it crosses, that's a boundary.
Yep.
So none of us are hide either the whatever you want to call us. We're just who we are. And we can let people relate to the human part of letting them know.
Yeah. But the human part is the higher self part.
Yes.
Really.
Yes. I
mean, it's a lot more human. It's a lot more human than our persona is.
Yeah. And your body wants to heal. It loves you.
Yeah. Yep. So does your DNA.
Well, it does it as a natural thing, doesn't it? You cut your hand, you don't have to think about it. You don't need to do superconscious recode. It just does it when you just leave it and you're in the right environment, for it to just do its natural thing. It's just doing it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's the unconscious. It's
don't have to
training the
think about it.
unconscious, retraining the unconscious. And it's that judger that makes us so unhealthy for everything. It's that compounding negativity. So I discovered a new layer of judging.
Today, you mean?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Yeah, I did too.
First one,
actually.
here's mine. First one, I think the first level is that we're judging others. And we judge them to our best.
Wow.
Number two is then I judge myself. That's the internal conversation. That's the internal judging, beating ourselves up. That's our sabotaging patterns.
Yep.
And then number three is that I make up other people are judging me. That was the new one, that I'm making up that other people are judging me. Oh, that's the dangerous
Wow.
one.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
Wow.
my imagination creating how
Was
people are seeing me, and it locks me into that.
wow, that's assumptions too, you know, because how you see yourself is how you project on others.
Mhm.
Yeah, you interact
then-
with others according to your assumptions.
Yeah, it's all self. It's all a reflection. Everything is a reflection of you. If you see something, even a tree or anything, it's how you see it.
And on the story of Jesus, like apparently when he went to his hometown where everybody knew him, he couldn't perform the miracles because everyone had the judgments of that's just Jesus, that. But everyone else, do you know what I mean? And that was feeding that. And then also what comes to me is the biggest prison that humanity lives in is the prison of what other people think.
Rosie.
And to be free of that prison, you know, what are others thinking of me? What are others? How are others judging me? To be free of that brings ridiculous freedom.
Yeah, what comes to mind, it's like, you know, I went to Thailand with my wife, and then we were in the train, and we're the only one that doesn't speak the language. And we think they're talking about us, but they're probably not.
Not at all.
You know, and it's in their head. It's in their head that like, oh, yeah, they're probably planning something on us, you know, like, you know, they know we're not from there, right? So I heard this thing, stop spelling yourself. The voice inside your head is the spell you put over your consciousness, therefore on your body of energy. So yeah, that's a big one that you said, Jesse.
Because as well, the brain, the mind, it's a factory. It'll think of the worst case scenarios, you know, which was yours, or they're talking about us on the train. This is the brain's survival mechanism to try to protect us. Like other day I was walking up and I had this really horrible feeling, like about 20 seconds before I arrived, and it was all in my head, and like my whole body was fooled by this thought. And then when I got there and I realized it wasn't true, it's like, but it's like, yeah, the thoughts, don't believe them.
Yeah, we do that in dreams as well, right? Like you're in your dream and then like you have like such a big nightmare, and then like you wake up, be like, thank God it wasn't true. You know?
Yeah. Relief.
Yeah.
Yo, guys, I'm going to rumble this jungle. It's been the utmost pleasure and honor. Humongous love to you all right?
Bye, Joe. Bye,
Bye,
Joe.
Joe. Have
Yeah, I
a
gotta
wonderful
leave
day.
too.
Everyone.
Blessings.
Love you
Bye.
guys. Peace.
Identity.
Wow, this has been so
Identity.
fun today.
It was.
Wow.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Identity.
That was definitely expensive, right?
Yeah.
Yes, no doubt. Okay, big love, everybody.
Me
Craig.
too. I'm also
Bye,
going to
Nikki.
say much love. Blessings. Bye for now.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Well, I'm going to wrap up here too, Pascal. Let's leave it
Sounds
open if
good.
there's anything you want to end it in.
I think I said it all
Good.
for now.
All right, my man.
All right.
Thanks
Yeah.
for being here. Great being with you.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a pleasure.
All right.
Yeah. Enjoy your day. It's a
Thank
it's a really rainy day today, so
Eh,
so I'll be present with that.
there you go. All right, man.
Okay. Have
Bye,
a great
Pascal.
day. Eh?
You
Yeah,
too.
take care. Bye-bye.